And I want you to know one thing. It's been a pleasure. You just like to dance, don't you, Carl?
That's right.
You like to dance. That was famous. Hello, welcome to One-on-One. I'm your host, Greg Walker. Special guest with us today. When I say old friend, it's a fact. We have known each other a long time. We went to school together. We've been great friends for many years. We've had so many laughs over the years, I can't even count them. It's no way you can count them. He's a good man. He's a good friend. I know I say that often, but I mean it from the heart. He's also done very well in life. He's a retired coach. He's a retired AD. He also does photography now, although he's been retired from coaching and AD for a long time. And he's also a hitting instructor. We'll get to know him much better today if you don't know him already. His name is Wayne Norfleet. Oh yeah, Wayne Norfleet. For those of you that know him, a smile has come on your face. Settle back, relax, enjoy a fun, down-to-earth conversation with a really nice guy. Wayne Norfleet's in the house. He'll join us right after these words.
It's the Nissan Now sales event at Matthews Nissan, voted Clarksville's best place to buy a car.
Nissan was a major hit at the auto show.
$7,877 off a new Altima. New Versa, $10,677. $6,777 off a new Rogue. $11,777 off a new Titan. Incredible!
Get big savings at MatthewsNissan.com.
You're gonna love our prices, Matthews Nissan.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchment Funeral Home has celebrated legacies with services as unique as each life.
Neil Tarpley Parchment, people who care, a name you can trust.
Welcome to our show today. He's in town. He's in the house. Wayne, great to have you, buddy.
Good to see you, Greg.
Wayne Norfleet, man, I tell you what, from where we came to what you've done, he's a retired head baseball coach, Cleveland State, Tennessee Wesleyan, AD. He's also now a photographer. He takes team pictures all over, and also a hitting instructor. You stay busy still, don't you, Wayne?
Praise the Lord. I'm still doing what I love, Greg. And I think we were talking earlier about both of us got to do what we loved in life, and that's one of the greatest blessings you could have.
That is a blessing. There's no question about it. Let's let everybody know about your family. Your wife, Lydia, how many years y'all been married?
38.
38 years. You got two wonderful children.
Yep. You got a son, Matthew, who's a police officer in Cleveland, Tennessee, where we live now.
Right.
Part of the reason we moved back.
Y'all were living in Nashville
we
for
were.
years.
Well, Franklin. Lydia was working at Vanderbilt University.
Right.
And moved there, gosh, lived there for 21 years, and then moved back to Cleveland 2 years ago, where our son's a police officer, and our daughter has just taken a new position as Associate Director of Admissions at Emory University Nursing School.
Really?
So she lives in Atlanta, so we're closer to her. And both the kids doing well, and then our son has, and his wife have two sons, two grandchildren, 5 and 4, so that keeps us busy.
You love that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. In fact, they just moved a mile away from us, so I think we're going to be spending a whole lot more time with the two grandsons.
Well, that's good. That's the reason you moved to Cleveland, though.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, you first started, you and Lydia, I guess, in Cleveland, though, when you were coaching at Cleveland State, right?
Right. In fact, a funny story, Greg, we had planned our wedding while I was still at Tennessee Wesleyan College the first time around when I was just coaching baseball. And we had set the date, and as it turned out, I accepted a position at Cleveland State Community College, and we spent our wedding night in the athletic dorm at Cleveland State because the players were moving in the next day. And
Really?
I told Lydia that should be a warning to her what the next few years are going to be like. But yeah, that's when we were in Cleveland.
Now, Lydia is a smart gal.
Well, people say she's not too smart, or she wouldn't have married me to begin with, or stayed with me for 38 years. But she is very accomplished, did wonderful things at Vanderbilt University, held in high esteem there.
Yeah.
Keeps me going. I told somebody the other day I got to get another job because retirement just doesn't work quite that well for me. But did wonderful things at Vanderbilt. Awful proud of her.
Well, your family is doing great. That's the bottom line. That's wonderful, man.
Been blessed, Greg.
You have been blessed, haven't you? You hadn't run across our buddy Ed Locklear down there in Cleveland.
No, I haven't. You know, you gave me his phone number,
Yeah.
and I can use the excuse now at my age that I've lost it because that's like everything else.
Yeah.
But I should get in touch with him. We had some good times together in high school.
Now, Wayne, was it your sophomore year that you moved from Nashville to Clarksville?
It was. It was.
That's what we got to know each other immediately, somehow.
Well, we lived fairly close together.
Yeah, we did.
And I tell people now, you know, somebody said, you rode a school bus every day back and forth to school, even when you were a senior? And I said, yeah, unless I wanted to walk. And you remember some of those bus trips back and forth to school. We got to know each other. And then our love of sports and our involvement in sports, I guess there was a bond there. But just a friendship that grew out of a lot of things.
Yeah, everybody didn't drive to school.
Very seldom.
Oh, it was very few.
Yeah, nobody had cars, so
Everybody parked in the back pavement back there where the basketball goals were, you know, behind old Clarksville High.
Metal shop and wood shop was back there. Kids today don't even know what that is.
I guess they don't. Yeah, surely they have that, don't they?
Well, I wouldn't know.
That's right. But you moved here you went to Hillwood, didn't you? That's what I thought. I still can remember some things.
Golly, you remember more about me than I did.
No,
Maybe it's just I want to forget.
You had a sweet mother, I remember that.
Good woman. Good woman. And Greg, I think
I like Dan too, don't get me wrong.
I think you knew my grandmother, who was around us a lot, who actually moved in with us in, we thought, later stages of life, lived to be 107.
She what?
Yeah, lived to be 107, just passed a little bit before we moved.
What genes? You got good genes, don't you?
Well, she lived alone till she was 99, cooked her own meals and everything. And we thought when we moved her into assisted living that she would really go downhill. And she was sharp as a tack until right at the end, 107, almost 108 years old.
How old was your mother when she passed?
She was, Greg, she was early 70s.
Was she?
Yeah. She was early 70s.
She had lung cancer.
She did.
She was a smoker.
Yes.
Heavy smoker.
Heavy smoker.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, Clarksville High. Our early years together.
Right.
Woo! Man, the stories, Wayne. What would you take for those times?
Well, you know, people, they always say, would you like to go back and do it again and not make the same mistakes? I'd like to go back and do it again and make more mistakes. If I just had another chance. And again, Greg, we had such fun. And you know, I know times have changed and things are different. There's so much more to do. But we found things to do, didn't we?
We always.
We had great times together. I remember days playing baseball all day long, or
basketball, football.
Out in front of Barksdale School. Remember that?
We lived for snow days.
Oh, tell me about it.
I mean, we found a gym somewhere on a snow day, didn't we?
Yeah, people would say, well, you had a lot more snow back then. I bet y'all sledded a lot. We did, but we played basketball. We found a gym we could get into. I'm not going to say the gym was open.
Yeah.
But we found a gym we could get into, didn't we?
There wasn't one in town we couldn't get into. You remember our buddy Martin at the Bomber Dome? Oh, he'd play with us.
Oh, yeah. The guy that would open it up for us.
Yeah, he played with us, you know. And, you know, let's face facts, folks, and we're not bragging about this. We were talking earlier. We're sort of fortunate to be here. I mean, we went through,
well, a lot of people would think you were talking about at our age. I think it was more about what we did and where we did
young.
it.
Yeah, I mean, really, our young years, we did some stupid things.
Yeah, Greg, but everybody does. And doesn't it make for great stories now? It makes for wonderful memories.
Boy, great memories, great stories, but I don't want to live through those again.
We made it. We made it through.
We made it through. What do you think? Now, of course, you went to Austin Peay right out of high school. What do you think turned things around for you, Wayne? I mean, we were Come on. We were immature, both of us, immature, crackpots. Life was a bowl of cherries. Nothing was serious to us.
Greg, and you and I, again, have talked about this many times. And I'll go a little bit around the block to get next door. I've often thought, why did the good Lord, and in your case also, let us do what we wanted to do? How many people want to do something and never get that opportunity for whatever reason?
Really?
You know, I was blessed.
I mean, who would have thought Wayne Norfleet would have been a head coach at a college, an athletic director, let's face facts, and done the things you've done?
Well,
I mean, you've been very successful, and a lot of people, I can't believe that. But,
well,
you know, a lot would say, well, I
there's
believe
times,
it.
Greg, when I look back and I can't believe it.
I understand.
I loved baseball.
No.
I loved it.
Yes.
My son and I have talked often, and you know, as a daddy, I'm going to name drop a little and tell you our son was fortunate enough to have been successful in college and get drafted and play in the pros for a while. And we talked about it when he left the game, and he left of his own devices. And we sat down the day after Thanksgiving when he said he wasn't going to spring training. And he said, Dad, the difference in you and me is I love to pitch, but you love the game. And he said, I don't love it enough to be a 27-year-old minor leaguer. He said, you would have.
Right.
And you know what, Greg, at the time it broke my heart that
But
he
it makes
quit.
sense.
But it makes sense. He had a perspective of it that I didn't even have.
Right.
I was fortunate to, for some reason, George Fisher cared for me.
Yep.
For some reason, and I don't know.
And me.
And I was getting ready to say, and you.
Yeah.
Lake Kelly cared for you.
Yep.
Not just friends, those men cared for us.
Yeah. Tom Wonderly.
Tom Wonderling. And would
Don't
you know,
forget
if it
him.
wasn't for Tom Wonderling, I was his assistant at Florida International. He took me at the
Dave
time.
Aaron.
Those men, for some reason, George Fisher cared for me at a time I was not out of control, but just going here or there.
They saw something in us, Wayne.
Well, I like
I don't
to
know
think
what it
that.
was. Well, they did.
But more than that, Greg, too, and you're right, I'd like to think we gave back to them for them caring for us.
Oh, well, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Anytime that I needed advice when things weren't going as well when I was coaching, call Coach Fisher. Mm-hmm. Anytime when things were good, I call Coach Fisher. Mm-hmm. Coach, you're not going to believe what we did today. And I think he enjoyed that, and that was the payback. So how did it happen? I don't know. And then, Greg, I almost turned the other way in that you talk to people that played for me, and they say, "Oh, Coach Norfleet's so conservative. You know, we got to tuck our shirts in. We got to shave our face. We got to shine our shoes. We wear traditional uniforms. We don't go crazy. We go in to eat. We take our hats off." And I would like to think that at some point, those lessons that Coach Fisher and those people taught us started manifesting itself in the way I coached. And then some little bit of success that we had followed.
And you had success.
We're fortunate.
Oh, you had success. I mean, you had success at Cleveland State, Tennessee Wesleyan. You know, I mean, you had success at both places.
We broke a few windows.
But you did have some real success.
I was fortunate. And again, Greg, you hear coaches say this, and you're going to say, well, that's what a coach is supposed to say. My second year at Tennessee Wesleyan, after I took the job, I was able to do something that I never did again and would never do again. In that when I went out and recruited a high school senior, I could tell him, you're going to come in and have an immediate impact. I can guarantee you that. And I was able to get 3 or 4 kids that were the core of our program. A couple that got drafted, a couple of kids that were, you know, recognized real good players that set the core of our team. And then we had a little bit of success in the conference, and we built on that.
You had a AD that I think you got to be really close with that was very influential in your life. And really a lot of people, you may not know the name, but when we come back, we'll give you the name and we'll tell you just how remarkable a guy he was also. Wayne Norfleet joining us today. Segment 2 coming up right after this.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchment Funeral Home has honored legacies. We believe every family deserves a special time of celebrating a life well lived.
Neil Tarpley Parchment, people who care, a name you can trust.
Longtime friend Wayne Norfleet in the house. We're talking about his background, where he was born, raised, came from, and his coaching. We've got into his coaching career, and we were talking about a man and talking about people that were influential in your life, Wayne. But when you got the job as a head coach, and of course George Fisher gave you glowing recommendations, but tell us about that, and tell us about a man that has been so influential in your life.
Well, this was right at the end of August, starting September, and I had accepted a position on staff with Ron Polk at Mississippi State, who I had met when I was coaching at Florida International. And for us old timers, Ron Polk is the legend in college baseball. He's the Tim Corbin of 20 years ago.
That's right.
30 years ago,
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
And I'd accepted a position on his staff, and I get a phone call from Coach Fisher, and he said, "How bad do you want to be a college head coach?" And I said, "Coach, this is what I'm doing this for." He said, "I know you've accepted the position at Mississippi State, but I just got a phone call from Dwayne Farmer, who's the athletic director at Tennessee Wesleyan. They have started baseball, and for some reason, they have either offered the job to someone and they wouldn't take it or whatever. The position is still open." He said, Monday was Labor Day. He said, "You get in your car, you go to Athens, Tennessee." I'd never been to Athens, Tennessee.
Right.
He said, "You go up there and you meet with Coach Farmer." I said, "It's Labor Day." He said, "You meet with Coach Farmer." So I go in and I meet with him. I meet with a committee of 3 or 4 people. And fortunately, I had a master's degree in the field that they needed a teacher for. And before I left at the end of the day, Coach Farmer stopped me and he said, "I don't want you here."
Now this is Dwayne Farmer.
Dwayne Farmer. He said, "I don't want you here," the athletics director at Tennessee Wesleyan. I said, "Well, that's a pretty good start. We're going to work well together." He said, "But they're going to offer you this position." And the reason he said that was a former player of his had applied for the position, and they were very close. Mm-hmm. Fast forward that to almost immediately, Dwayne Farmer became what I call my father. I loved him like no other man that I've ever been around. It's hard for somebody to compete with George Fisher in my mind, but he did. He was brilliant. He's a legend in college coaching. And Greg, you and I have talked about this before.
Well, he came in here to Austin Peay
and beat Austin Peay.
Gave them a lesson in coaching.
And
that was Lake Kelly.
There's a long story, and I won't tell you now, but I'll never forget. We were in Owensboro, Kentucky, having played Kentucky Wesleyan, and we were going to play another team, but we had played Morehead State a week or so earlier. Sunday night, the phone rings, and I answer it because I'm in the room with Coach Farmer. And he said, "Put Coach Farmer on the line." And I said, "Who is this?" And he said, "Put Coach Farmer on the line." I said, "Tell me who this is." "This is Bob Knight." And then he called me, said something to me. He said, "Put him on the line." And Coach Farmer and him talked for 30 minutes. And I can't remember, Greg, if we had played Morehead to get a guarantee and then Morehead was going to Indiana. But I thought it was amazing. People say, "Have you ever met Coach Bobby Knight?" I said, "No, but I've talked to him on the phone." That was my conversation.
Right.
And he spent 30 minutes talking to Coach Farmer because Coach Farmer was a mastermind with zone defenses. Basketball Hall of Fame legend, godfather to my two children, and his passing affected me like I can't even describe. But again, Greg, we got somebody that was a mentor, somebody that helped guide me, and the athletic principles that he instilled in me were the ones I carried into that same position when I came back as athletic director.
Right. And he is the reason you got the AD job.
No question about it. So there you have George Fisher, that without George Fisher, no matter how much I would have done, I don't know if I'd ever been a college head coach. I'd like to think I would. Without Dwayne Farmer, I don't know that would have happened. And both men cut out of the same character cloth.
Wayne, what are some of your biggest thrills in life? And let's make this overall in life and also professionally.
Well, most people would tell you that the birth of their children
Yep.
was, and it was the greatest moments
Right.
of my life. But I got to tell you, Greg, I was scared both times. I scared. Nothing was wrong.
Yeah.
I just they don't have an instruction book for being with your wife when children are born.
I got you.
I was just, please, Lord, let everything be okay.
I'm with you.
So that was great from a personal standpoint. Those kind of things, the relationships I have with kids when I see them do well. And, you know, I talk about kids. I've got guys that played for me that are in their 60s.
What?
Yeah, Greg, I remember, I was a 24-year-old college head coach. I had guys 21 and 22, 2 years younger than me.
I forgot all about that.
And that are grandparents now. Those are the great moments. The great sports moments, gosh, fortunately we had a lot. The championship games, you know, playing against Lipscomb, Ken Dugan, who today people don't realize at that time Lipscomb was the best college team in America. NAI team. I'm sorry, NAI team, small college. Certainly in Tennessee, but in America at the time.
Right.
He was the Tim Corbin, the Ron Polk of NAI baseball.
He was.
Just having Coach Dugan say, yeah, we'll play you. The first time we beat him, I almost wanted to apologize and say, Coach, I'm sorry. You know, this isn't supposed to happen. The win over Tennessee turned our program, Greg.
Right.
We were good, and I kept wanting to get. Then you could play a game or two each year if you were Division I against a small school if you had a rain out. And I got Tennessee, Bill Wright, good friend, to play us, and we were fortunate enough to go up there and win. And I gave a talk to a group the other day, and I said, you never know when something small in its action can be so catastrophic in its consequence in a good way, can be so time-changing. And we went up there and we were fortunate enough to win. We beat Tennessee on their field, beat Billy Aldridge, who pitched, I know in AAA, and maybe a little time in the big leagues. And those 3 hours turned everything. Not that we were so much recognized, it's a middle of the week game, but that our kids looked at each other kind of like that and said, wait a minute.
We're pretty good.
This is what we came here for.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember speaking to the kids the night before, and I said, I know that every one of y'all that play for me wishes he was in that orange jersey. I know that. I hope to coach on that level someday. But tomorrow, we're Tennessee. Tomorrow, we're going to see the orange on another jersey. And I said, here's our chance. Now, it's a great story because we won.
Yeah.
But it was still a great moment because we had an opportunity to play them and to beat them. And I think the greatest compliment we had was when Bill Wright said, Wayne, you guys did a great job. He said, you earned that, but we can't play anymore. He said, I lose my job for losing to you.
Hey,
so just that, and then all the other wins, Greg, but that was the moment that everything turned for our school. And I tell people this, at that time, we didn't have 500 kids at Tennessee Wesleyan.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't have 500 students. So the smallest school playing baseball in the state of Tennessee went to Knoxville
And beat UT.
beat UT. Yeah.
And
It was peanut butter tasted like steak that night.
Sports. That's been your life. Yeah. That's been my life. We've enjoyed the ride, haven't we?
Oh, it's been a great one.
Hey, we're going to have 2 shows with Wayne. We're going to be back for the stretch run on show number 1 right after this.
It's the Nissan Now sales event at Matthews Nissan, voted Clarksville's best place to buy a car.
Nissan was a major hit at the auto show.
$7,877 off a new Altima. New Versa, $10,677. $6,777 off a new Rogue. $11,777 off a new Titan. Incredible!
Get big savings at MatthewsNissan.com.
You're gonna love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
Stretch run time, show number 1. Wayne Norfleet's our guest. He'll be back next week. And you know, next week we'll talk about something. If you're a Preds fan, we got some interesting things to say about them. We'll do that next week. We'll talk about some of the things he's doing now. But you know, when we tape this show, and we're taping it March 21st, It's truly March Madness, isn't it?
That's great.
Have we ever seen a year like this one? I don't think in my lifetime.
I think we both visited about that we'll never see a 16 beat a 1.
Well, I wondered if I would in my lifetime. I really did. Well, I have.
Yeah.
And actually watched it.
And they beat them.
They beat them bad, soundly. You know, Virginia defense is a great thing. Got to have it to win. But you also got to be able to score.
Got to score. Got to score.
Got to be able to score. As we speak, Austin Peay's playing tonight. They're still alive in the CIT tournament. And, of course, got the NIT still going on. But I guess us as sports fans, we love every season of the year, don't we?
Sure.
Baseball's right around the corner.
Competition, Greg. That's what it compete with. And I used to ask my kids, will you compete today? Will you compete in practice? Will you compete in the game? And you're the only one that can answer that, not me.
Have you had, I know you have, guys that I call gamers, they weren't good in practice, but put them in the game and they get you a couple of hits or a big hit when you need one?
I'm thinking of a kid right now that we couldn't win without him, and he batted 8th. If he didn't play, we didn't win. I'm not talking about every game, but we were better when he played.
Right.
They're just some kids that lift the performance of everybody else regardless of their stature on the club.
Gotcha. There's no doubt about that.
That's right.
Who's the toughest kid to coach? I shouldn't have asked you that with only a minute left.
The toughest kids to coach, most of the times the ones that are very skilled, that have been successful doing things their way in the past, who you're not trying to change, but you're trying to adjust. You get a great kid that can hit the fastball great. He comes to an NAIA school, he's not going to see 90 miles an hour, 95. He's going to see off speed, he's going to see control, he's going to see kids that can paint the outside and inside corner. Those skilled players that you're trying to help and adjust, but not change. And sometimes you get great resistance.
Been a pleasure, buddy.
It's been mine.
We'll keep sitting here. We'll do it again.
Let's do it.
We'll be back next week. Good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope you tune in then. Tell your friends, neighbors, and loved ones. Steve Sawyer makes it work behind the scenes. For Wayne Norfleet, for yours truly, Greg Walker. Till next time, have a nice rest of the day, folks.